Bitcoin's been around for 15 years. It's had 15 major drawdowns. It's always come back to a new all-time high. If you zoom out, this is just par for the course. This is normal in the life cycle of an emergent transformational asset class, and it's a healthy thing. It clears out the tourists, the leverage, and the weak holders, and sets the basis for the next rally upward.
But to the next phase of correction zone, that's going to be harder because the next one that happens, we'll have a 35% drop, and you'll all say, "Is it over?" And you'll definitely be sure it's over. And everybody on Twitter will tell you it's over, and it won't be over.
Just remember, this loser bankrupted casinos, okay? So, it's not all bad. We've got this guy calling for 220K in the next 45 days. Of course, he's a South Korean Christian fundamentalist who's going to fund churches with his profits. Yeah, things that are likely not to happen, that. My question is, does he lose at least 120 IQ points after it doesn't happen? Well, here you go. If you want proof that Trump is a Russian asset, we now have a peace plan that is basically written by the Russians, leaked by the Russians, by the way, and has syntax in Russian language, as if Witkoff, behind closed doors with Russian, Kirill, the ambassador, whoever the fuck he is, he's just a crony from the Putin regime, written behind closed doors, not with the Europeans or Ukraine, but by themselves. Well, fuck you. They're never going to agree to this, and it's just a joke. Russia's not going to even agree to this. They know this is not going to go anywhere. They just want to keep the war going. But their economy is collapsing, and it's happening more and more, and you can't hide it. The numbers are coming in. The receipts are due. They're not able to pay their own soldiers. They're raising taxes on their people, and it's just an absolute shit show. And we had signs. We had Pete Hegseth, the Fox News anchor, who's now in charge of our military? What the fuck? He has a Russian tie on, and he knows what he's doing. I don't know what to say. It's such a bizarre show. But this is just a distraction away from the Epstein files that they're going to try to redact the names of Trump and his billionaire buddies and use this to go over and, hide what they're actually doing. Cunts. They're all fucking cunts. As an American, I'd say 90% of us, probably even more, support Ukraine. We love freedom. And we believe in our country, as you do. I don't know how we elected this cunt. But such is life. He's only got 3 years, and I count off every day, thankfully. But here's how I feel.
Prospect of this new capitulation deal, it has never been more important that Europe and Ukraine can step away from the United States and look after our own security, because we sure as hell cannot rely on the United States to do it.
Yeah, it's a fucking nightmare, and I agree with him. And I feel sorry for the turkey this year that gets pardoned by the president. I wouldn't be surprised if he can't raise the $2 million pardon cost for Trump, that Trump might just, bump him off and be like,
Where's my money, bitch? Huh? Bitch? Where's my money, bitch? Oh, that's good. Where's my money? Where's my money, bitch? Bitch, where's my money?
After the turkey can't raise the money, I wouldn't be surprised if Trump didn't wring his neck right there in front of the Oval Office. Trump, you basically say, hey, where's my money, bitch? And the turkey will say, I don't have it. and that's it. He'll just take them out right there. This is all a distraction from the Epstein files. Once again, fuck this guy. But that would be kind of funny. No, it would be horrible. It'd be horrible. Happy Thanksgiving. Anyway, on to the video, and enjoy. I've basically exited most of my shorts on Zcash with this last trade. I traded it down to here and to here once before when I was shorting from all these levels. I re-entered the position. I closed most of them out, 3 of them right here, and I could look to exit the rest right at this one down here. This is really a small trade for me. I'm really not super interested in holding it long term. It's a very weird chart, but it does have the resistance from here and above being key right now, and the support being right around the 200% down here, and between this level right here, the first high. So, it's just not that interesting to me. I want to focus on other things. I'm not going to be looking to get into this big. Maybe in the future, if it does do a bigger run and goes all the way up to maybe up to here, which would be nice as in the next short area, because then I would be looking to take it all the way back down to this area down here. But I'm not going to really, again, small size, not really interested. I do want to focus on what I see over here, because I took out a bunch of money and I'm looking to use it, and this is a key area. This was a area where I exited my shorts. I had a short hedge from up here, and I exited half here and then here. So this area down here is going to be interesting for me to look to go over and to buy anywhere actually from this right where we entered in the 2600, in the mid 2600 range. Unfortunately, I didn't buy it yet, so I'm going to look for to do that if we get another move below these numbers, or to these numbers, I should say, and all the way down to maybe the 25. Besides that, I'm looking at Bitcoin too, and I'm looking for Bitcoin to go back up to the low 90 range where it broke the trend line. The low to mid 90 range, I should say, the upper to mid 90 range, let's put it that way. So around that 90, right here, around 94K, all the way up to the break point, which is 98K. This is going to have to test. This right here is going to test again. There's no doubt about that. And there's a good chance it could go all the way up to even the 104 and test this area up here, because now this has become resistance. First would be this right here. And then if it extends out over here, this becomes resistance. That's just what's in the chart. And ultimately, we would be looking for it to get all the way down to around that 58, under the 58K area, 61.8 off the 5 waves. We had the downside break of this pattern, unfortunately. And again, you know my opinion. This is all because of Trump, the crypto president. What a fucking turkey. The guy is a big loser. Everything he does, he bankrupted casinos. I mean, I should have thought about this and hedged more, but I'm pro-Bitcoin. I'm bullish on Bitcoin. And the market will be bigger than him in time. But right now, we've got lots of technical damage, and a lot of people have sold because they don't want to be involved with the nutbag. You know, if he represents crypto, then we're fucked, is to put it shortly. Everything he touches turns to shit. He's the most incompetent person. It's not even worth going over. And the whole thing with Ukraine, fuck him. And, you know, he gets what he deserves. Everywhere he goes, he just causes trouble, and he's a loser. And anybody associated with him are losers too. And that's just the way it is. But anyway, we're likely going to test this breakpoint. We'll see where we go from here. I'm not in a rush. I've got money on the sidelines now, ready to use, but I'm not in a rush to use it. But I do see the opportunity for us to go back up. And here, let me show you the areas that I'm looking at. So right here at the low 81K, this is where I started noticing the buyers appearing recently. This would be the first test right up here around the 92, and then that trend line break right around that 98K area would be the other one that you're looking for. Of course, we have numbers that extend all the way up here, but I don't think they're going to hit for a while because we had this breakdown here. I think the zone that we're looking at, this 98 to the 92K as resistance right now. So let's draw a box right here. And this is what we're looking for as resistance. That makes the most sense. So I'm going to be looking for that to happen and for us to retest this and under. Maybe we'll get all the way down to here. That's possible. If it does, I'll be buying, and I know exactly what I'm going to be looking for. This is a good trade. Ethereum, again, this is a good trade to go all the way back up to the around 32 and maybe as high as the 35. That would make the most sense. So that on a percentage basis, I'll have to calculate that, but I'm only going to do it from around this level down here, the 26 all the way down to the 2500 range. That makes the most sense. This was the last area that I had as a buy, and it made sense. I had this move up here. Dun, 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 dun. This was the last resistance point. Boom, boom, boom. Now we've got 5 waves. I could see this going all the way back up to, with the breaks, the chart's so messed up. But anyway, now I have to go to the altcoins because I said I would do that. And I'm not really interested in the altcoins. Nothing has really changed. It's really not my focus. But I'll give you the numbers that I think that we can go off of. SUI would be my favorite. And if it goes down to the low $1 range, right down here, this is where I would likely become a buyer. So let's look at that right there. So SUIs would be the number 1. And of course, number 2 would be Solana. The only thing with Solana is I think it has more downside. I think that it's looking at the 96 area. This was the previous buy zone right here. I think that we can get down there. I believe that's very possible, even though we have a wedge right here. And let me show you that. That goes all the way back to 205. So this is totally up to you. Me, I'm just going to be patient with the down move that we've had. You can see it's a very thin wedge here. It's very, it's very consolidated and close, and it has a defined point. It's an intense wedge, basically. And if we were to get to this number up here and a person was buying at this level, I would not say that's a bad idea. Between here and that number down there, that's like a $20 range though. And you would be targeting in the future all the way back up to the $200 range. So you have to go over and calculate that technically. I'm not going to go over and give any advice on this. I myself am just going to wait. If we get a bigger move under the $100 range, then I would be interested in both Solana and SUI under around $1 over here, right around 105. So those two are of prime interest to me. Everything else, Link is actually in its buy zone right here at around the $11 range. So this one is overextended to the downside. This has a tendency to do that though. It's wide ranging, and I could see this going all the way back up to 19 from where we are around the $11 range. So this one is nicer. Again, the sharp decline. So when you get declines like this, you can get sharp bounces of larger amounts. You just don't know when they're going to occur. Avalanche, same thing with Avalanche. It is way under its numbers over here. It broke its previous support range around the $15 area. I could see this going all the way back up to around 20. Remember, this went as high as 36, I think it was, all the way over here. Now, I lost interest in the altcoins. I thought they were overpriced, and I was kind of right. A lot of them just went way too high. So I did not even bother, getting involved with them. Didn't see the upside. Here goes GRT, the graph. This is one I like longer term, but as long as we're in the altcoin bear market, there's ugliness everywhere. This had a bunch of bounces up to the 11 cents area. It's going to have to test this 7 cents at some point. So that's one area to look for. And that'll happen without a doubt. And there's a likelihood it could go back up to the around 10 cents, 9 to 10 cents area. This is a very muted chart, but if you notice the spikes, the big spikes that you have here, those are interesting from a parabolic point of view, because this is very small. So when you get one like this, you can get blips that go up 4 cents, and it'll be like almost double the price, and you'll be like, "What the heck?" And it comes out of nowhere because it's very small, coin. Let's look at Doge over here. Doge is approaching, but not yet to its 12-cent area. That was in the past a very good zone to go over and buy it. This one is wide ranging. This is another one that can go all the way back up to the 20-cent range in a blink, and everybody would be like, "Wow, how did that happen?" And then all of a sudden, you'll see news come out on Doge, and it's like, "Oh, everything's great, blah blah blah." Yeah, okay, whatever. Again, it's an altcoin. Pepe has been crushed. Nobody loves it. Where's Elon's support for Pepe? At some point, I could see it getting all the way back up to here. The 0.5 knot, right? Is that about 5? Yeah. Knot 6 range. And, from where we are right now, just 0.54. So, it percentage-wise, meh. Not really interesting. So those are all the altcoins that I would be looking at. There's nothing really out there interesting. The one that I keep getting asking about is MicroStrategy, or Strategy, I guess they call it now. Where's that? Its next range all the way is down here. I hate to say it, but it's all the way down to around the 118 number. This is over here. Let's go in on this chart. So you see these lows over here. So that stretches all the way from 98 all the way up to the 18 range right here. So this would be an accumulation zone right there. This at one point ran all the way up to that 4.23, and I've shown you how that 4.23 acts as resistance. Zcash is a perfect example. Even though it did these crazy spikes above, it pulled back tremendously from there and pulls all the way back down just above that 200%. At some point, it's going to have to test this 200%. It'll probably do it very quickly or out of nowhere. but more than likely it's going to do that. Again, this is a small trade for me. This is too thinly traded, even though the volume has, of course, picked up a great deal. Zcash is not the future. It is not a Bitcoin replacement. I don't care what anybody wants to say. It's just a hype coin right now that people and all the degenerate gamblers are flocking to. And of course, they're going to get burned. That's the game. That's how it goes. And when they get crushed and it goes all the way back down here, they'll be like, oh my God, what happened? I lost all my money. Once again, they could join Andrew Tate and that Win guy for their leveraged trade blowouts, degenerate gamblers. But I guess that's the theme of things, sports betting is in, and if people want to be degenerate gamblers, great. People who actually make money long term, uninteresting. Don't care. Not at all interesting. So that's basically it. You see what I think for Bitcoin. I think we go all the way back up to here and probably test up to there. We have to, because we have a chart that's just completely devoid and has done nothing but gone to the downside. Of course, I'd like to see it go back down to the low 81K and under. That's where I would be buying. Again, I pulled money from the sidelines. I've got cash on hand ready to go, and I'm going to get more into trading, I guess you can say, with the ranges being what they are. Even though you have what looks like technical destruction into the charts, whatever. Those are markets for you. Again, send Trump a Christmas card, tell him to go F himself. He's the biggest loser. He's the reason the crypto market is down. And if you think otherwise, then you're kind of an idiot. There's no reason technically why this is pulling back other than the fact that the geopolitical stupidity of this man and his attachment to calling everything himself the crypto president has done. And, nobody wants to be associated with him and his, child porn / pedophile ring, which is ironic because MAGA is, how can you be a MAGA person and support the president if his name is attached to everything that's with the pedophiles? How do you close the circle on that one? So how does that make sense? And that's what the conundrum that they have to deal with now is they're the ones that are Pizzagate, and they have to be associated with this scumbag. So nice, Merry Christmas, Happy Thanksgiving, and go fuck yourselves is all I could say. So there you go. And that's pretty much it. GME is traded down again. It's almost down to this zone. This 1891 would be the next buy zone over here. I might actually get back into this. And but this Ryan Cohen, he's problematic. So why I was pulling out is because I just don't trust this scumbag to use his money correctly. He took all that money out for what? What has he done with it? There's the question for you. So there's a conundrum. But those are the buy levels. 1890s, 16, 19, and under that area right down there. So if you want to look at GME, that's pretty much it. I don't have any other ones to go over. What was I asked about? Oh, I was also asked about SEI. Won't leave you out. This one is traded way down. Again, I could see it getting all the way up to around the 20-cent range. But it has resistance now that goes all the way right there, right at that 16. Would not want to be a buyer unless on a percentage basis. I can get it all the way down to like 11 cents. That makes the most percentage-wise for a bounce above here. Again, it would just be a trade. Don't like any of the altcoins. They were overbought at one point, and now they pulled back a great deal. So now they're becoming more interesting, but still, to me, not really many of them are ready yet. I think there's still more downside, but we'll see. Anyway, that's it for this update. Hope you've enjoyed it, and I will see you guys next week.